Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So as you guys can see, today we are doing a brief update on the pool pad. And honestly, I don't have too much to say, so I'm just gonna give you some quick updates about how it's doing and kind of go over some questions that people were asking me in the comments. First off, as you can see, I have a tarp on top of my pool pad. We keep that tarp up there, number one, because we put the pool on top of it. But then number two, because when the pool is down, like it is right now, it keeps a bunch of the debris from getting into the sand. Normally, I have a tarp that actually covers the entire thing, because as you can see on the sides, it's not covered. But when I bought a 16 by 16 tarp, it wasn't actually truly 16 by 16, so I have some gaps on either side of the tarp. Normally I prefer it to cover the whole thing, and that keeps the debris down, keeps the weeds out, keeps the dogs out of there. And if you have outdoor cats or there's stray cats in the area, I definitely recommend doing something to cover it, because or else you're gonna have a giant litter box, which I don't think anybody really wants that. Wood pieces you're seeing on top of the pool pad right now are just to hold the tarp down for when it gets windy. Normally they're not there during the pool season. We really have had no problems with this since we put it up. The sand has stayed level. We haven't had to bring in any sand. The boards are obviously not like rotting yet. They were pressure treated. I haven't stained them, so this is going to be the 4th year. And I think I am going to stain them this spring because they're kind of starting to look a little on the gray side. The brackets and the hardware have all held up. I'd say the only thing is we had some slight bowing on the boards on the side where we had to build up the ground because our ground was just very much at a slope, and I wasn't going to dig deeper into the part that wasn't sloped just to make it level. So that's why we built up. But it's hardly noticeable and it doesn't bother us. So, but if that's something that would bother you, something to take into consideration. I did say in my video that it would be a good idea to use reinforcements like rebar and stuff like that, especially depending on how big your pool is, which we did use rebar, but we didn't put it in until after we filled the sand because we didn't even think about it. So as I just stated, the sand inside is still level. I took a clip before we put the pool up this spring to try to show with a level, the biggest level I had, that it's level, so I'm going to insert that here. So there's a couple little dips where people have walked, especially along the edge, during the summer around the pool when it gets really warm, but it is pretty level. And I checked all the way around, putting it the same way on all sides because this is the longest level that I have, and all the spots that I checked were level as well. So far so good. We moved the tarp to just kind of clean it off and get any debris that got pushed underneath it over the winter. So that's all we did there. I've seen comments about putting beauty bark or river rock around the pool base, which I think the river rock is a great idea. I've seen people do that. We didn't do that because, like, as you can see right now, we take our pool down every year because the majority of days in winter it gets below freezing overnight. We have some days where it doesn't reach over 12 degrees, and we've just lost too many pools, so that's why we take ours down. Our pool instructions actually say to do so for our climate, so read your pool instructions, do whatever your pool says to do whatever you think's best. I never claim to be an expert on building pool pads or putting up pools, so just do whatever you think is best, whatever works for you. Regarding the pools, I don't really want to get too much into that because, every pool that you buy is different. Everybody has different ideas of how you should treat them, store them. If you want to put braces underneath your legs because you're leaving it up year round, put braces underneath there. If you want to do beauty bark or river rock, do that. If you want to buy the special filters, go ahead and buy the special filters. For our pool, the only accessories I bought are floaties, chemicals, and a pool vacuum, and our water stays clear and clean, so that's all that really matters to me. We also don't have kids, so it's just us two, and it really doesn't get dirty or get, overly used. Yeah, so, as I already said, I don't really have too much to say. I mean, at this point, I just am gonna stain it next year. I don't really see us needing sand because, like I said, it's all staying pretty level. The only time we actually had a problem with the sand is when my puppy decided to dig out the corner, not just from the inside of the pad, but from the outside of it too. So she literally dug right under the pad. And really none of the sand came rushing out. I just put some of the sand back in and shoved the dirt back in the corner, and there was no problem other than that. I guess the only constructive advice I could give is just what I've already said. Just really make sure you either dig out your space to put your boards in to keep them from flexing, or use some sort of support depending on how big your pool is, because that's the only thing that I've noticed is we had a little bit of bowing. Like I said, since we've kept it covered, we don't really have a problem with debris getting in there or weeds building up, things like that, animals digging it out besides my puppy. And I'm gonna say it again, never claim to be an expert. This was our first time building one ourselves, but I've helped friends build theirs, and we all pretty much did the same exact thing, and it's worked out for all of us. One thing that I do like about using the wood is that if we do ever choose to take this down, at least we didn't spend all that money on those stones, and the wood can be, used for projects and repurposed. I guess the stones can too, but this was just cheaper than the stones. So if we do want to take it down, I'm not going to feel so bad about it. I am going to feel bad about trying to get rid of all that sand though. That would not be fun. Well, that's really all I have to say about it. 4 years in pretty much, and still looking good. Nothing has really changed besides the fact that I think it needs some stain. So that is all that I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.